Sure. I'm Jim Waters. I'm a multidisciplinary creative, as pretentious as that sounds. But I guess I mostly work in like photography and video. That's what people kind of know me for. Uh, yeah, so let's kick it off, mate.
Yeah, sweet. So like I was telling Jamie earlier, I was speaking, and I've spoken to many people about him before, but this is saying you can be a jack of all trades, but master of none. But I find that Jamie is literally like a master of them all. Like like when I met him, I was like, what is it that he doesn't do? He does, like, as he says, multidisciplinary creative. He does graphics design, web design, videos. Um, loads more architecture, um, but I'm not sure if you want to speak a bit on the point of where you started in architecture and how you got into creativity or photography.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, all of my courses at college were all academic. It was all like physics, chemistry, maths, English, and I've kind of been like funneled into doing physics and English, and I realised like my last year of college that I just wanted to do something creative, and I was now stuck because college is in the UK so narrow. Like once you do your four courses, you're kind of
Yeah.
like restricted to those four courses. So I didn't want to do physics. I was like, fuck that. I love photography, but I had like a collection of old film cameras that my granddad had just been giving me initially to sell on eBay, and then I was like, "Are you joking? These cameras are priceless. Like, I'm not selling your vintage SLRs."
Yes.
So I started like learning photography, and then I did architecture because my dad does architecture, and it's an art degree. Like I did a BA, so once you do an art degree, obviously everything's now open again. And I was like, there's no restrictions at art university. Like doing an art degree, you can just experiment. I was in like the dark room in the photography department,
Mm.
the screen printing studio. I was in the workshop, just like trying my hand at everything I could. So yeah, that's kind of the roots. And then it moved into fashion photography because the fashion department at my uni, I went to Kingston. It's really sick. Like there's loads of amazing students there who I could work with. So it was like a natural union. I just wasn't in the architecture studio when I should have been. I was in the
Yes.
fashion studio and like making friends there. And then I started doing lookbooks, and it just sort of like
Yes, I've seen. Yeah.
picked up. Yeah.
Yeah. So would you say it all started from doing lookbooks for students that were in the fashion
Yeah.
department at Kingston?
Yeah. Literally, just Emma Bree was the first person I worked with. She's a wicked designer. She's now at Craig Green. Um, but yeah, we did our first lookbook. It was the first time I shot medium format, and just fell in love with it. And like fashion photography made sense. So
Yeah. And then you want to speak on the points of so for some of you don't know Jamie. So Jamie's initials are Jamie A. Waters, and then he has this creative agency or team that's called Jaw, that he operates under for some projects. I'm not sure if you want to speak a bit on that, on how you found the look of Jaw and your look that, like, I'm sure many will agree is like one of a kind, which is amazing,
yeah,
that not many people are doing, especially mixing the world of design and film photography, because most people are like, oh, keep film pure and everything, but you're willing to experiment. But yeah, I'm speaking a bit over. Let's just focus on the Jaw part.
yeah. I mean, I guess I didn't want to move down like a traditional route, and I kind of like running my own little team, and I started my own brand, and it sort of fell into place. Like my mate Josh came up with this idea when we were traveling, just trying to come up with names for a brand, and he was like, "Bro, your initials, like, why have you not used that?" And then suddenly
Yes.
it made sense. So yeah, then I sort of applied that to clothing, and I was doing like an arts exhibition, and that then expanded into doing creative projects where I thought it made sense to use my moniker as like my brand, and then that expanded into doing like commercial projects for clients, and we started to use Jaw as the company name and just pretend to be a company, even though it's like me and a few mates, you know. And then we picked up bigger clients, and it just sort of worked. So now it's like Jaw is like a thing. guess, and I tried to carry a style, so that when you see something, like the goal is you go like, oh, that's jaw, like that's a jaw piece, or
Yes, I'll show some stuff. Yeah. Sorry, I cut out there for a bit, so I didn't really hear what you said, so I didn't know you finished. But going on to the next topic now of the live music industry and how you've shot like people like him, and then Brent Fayez, Poppy, Adja, and Gus Dapperton, and various people. Like, how did that work? How did that come right?
I mean, it's all just like networking as much as I possibly could. So I'd never really shot festivals, and then I guess I started making links with people in the industry who wanted free work. You know, just like, can you shoot something for a magazine, unpaid? And I guess that's how a lot of us start. So yes, that is Young Lean, my hero. And so then I just did loads of stuff for free, and I was working in retail and like hating my job. And I knew that like people often say don't undersell yourself and don't do shit for free. Like your art is worth something, and it's true. But sometimes you have to value when it's worth doing something for free or doing something as a collaboration because you're invested in someone. So I did a lot of stuff like that, and I guess once you do enough of that, you gain traction with the right people, and you only need to know one person who can get you through the door, and that opens so many opportunities. So festival stuff, I just started doing that back to back, just like a couple, and my strategy was always like, do whatever you can to slip in backstage, because obviously that's where the artists are, and you can get the interesting one-on-one shots. Like everything about shooting live photography is great. I love the adrenaline of like rushing into the pit and getting the first 3 songs, and trying to get like a unique angle on an artist. But if you can get a unique opportunity one-on-one with an artist backstage, that's like the ones that you treasure. So with Gus, it was very much I just got backstage for his show at Melt Festival in Berlin, and then I saw him and his band get off the tour bus and like getting ready to go on stage, and I just thought, like, don't overthink anything, just go in and like forget your, don't be scared, just like run up to people and like tap on the shoulder. And I literally went, yo, Gus, and he turned around, and I'm sure he thought like, oh, I must know this guy from somewhere.
Yes.
And I gave him a hug as if we'd like shot before, but in my life. And then he agreed to do a little shoot there. So stuff like that.
Yes, yeah. That's one of the things I admire about you the most, is also your networking and stuff. And it wasn't just given to you. Like you've done the work of networking, chatting, doing the business card thing and stuff like that, and it's paid off. You're shooting with people that some people would dream of shooting with, like your recent shoot. I don't have it here. I might actually have it, but of Brent Fayez, even, like, that's like crazy.
Yes, man. Yeah, that was through the same contact, Katerina. Shout out to Katerina.
Yes.
She was working with Tomorrow Magazine, and we did a bunch of stuff together. And then she's got some good plugs out in the States. And Brent was just here for a short while doing his video. And yeah, she managed to get us an hour with him to shoot. And I mean, there was no budget. Sean did the styling. Sean Baker, wicked guy.
Yeah.
He spent like 100 quid that day on Ubers, taking looks all around London. I spent 100 quid on materials and supplies and film, developing everything. And I just said to Sean, like, look, we've got an hour, we've got 4 rolls of film. How many looks can we do in an hour? So we just blasted through, and it was 1 look per roll. And we shot in that, like, the little turn around circus bit in Shoreditch, in Ace Hotel.
Yes.
And I've seen so many iconic shoots there. I guess it was like my opportunity to chip in on the subject. And he was just, such a cool guy to shoot with. But it's those things where you get like an hour and that's it. And you've got no money. And like Karen and Luca did an amazing job assisting me. But without them, it's just like, it would have been a mess. It's kind of embarrassing when you get like a huge artist comes over from the States and you're like scrambling to make it look like you're a professional unit and you know what you're doing.
Yes.
But the reality is it's always like a hectic last minute mess, and we make it all up on the spot. But it just worked out.
I remember when you told me about that you only had an hour, I was like so surprised. I was like, how is that possible? And then all the looks you got out of it, I was like, that is crazy. But I put it in the comments now, but I forgot to say it at the beginning. But if any of you guys want to add questions or ask questions, contribute, please feel free. I said it in the one on Monday as well, that I don't want it to just be a conversation between me and William or me and Jamie. I want it to be like a big conversation with all of us, and I'm just helping facilitate it. But unless anybody has any questions to add, I want to go on to the next topic of you shooting and doing stuff for PAQ or PAC, however you like to say it. I've noticed you've done quite a few stuff with them, and especially with Elias.
Yeah.
I'll get that stuff up, or you speak about it, how it came to be and all.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I guess I'd been watching the show, and I remember like I'd say to people, I'm going to shoot with PAQ. I guess I do this quite a lot, you know, like I'm sure a lot of photographers can relate. But when there's someone you really want to work with, you just, I don't know, I have a kind of a mantra, you just say like, I'm going to shoot with that person. And it kind of just formulates. And I think that was one of those things where I kept saying it. And I remember I was emailing back and forth with one of the founders of Kyra who run the show. And they had said like, yeah, we'd love to have you for a shoot, blah, blah. And then when I said I could do it, they were like, sorry, we've got someone else. Like, it's not happening. So it never happened through the routes that I was trying. And then something just came up where I did a shoot for someone else who happened to be featured in the episode. And that led to like meeting Bar, who was one of the producers on PAQ, who's wicked. And he just plugged me. And then Sean started working there. Yeah, it all just sort of picked up, and I started doing like a shoot with them every week. And then, yeah, I remember just getting the call to go to do the shoot in Morocco and being like, what the fuck? It's really like me just saying I want to shoot with them, and the next thing I'm on a plane to Morocco. And I'd never shot outside Europe or even been flown out for a job.
Yes. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, that the work that's being shown now in my half of the screen is the Morocco work that he's talking about, which is, I'm right there. That is the Morocco. So yeah, just making sure. And then he's also done this, which I also quite, the ones blocked up on my image, but that's also some of the stuff from PAQ, which I really dig. I see somebody has a question. What ongoing projects do you have currently, personal ones or commissioned work? If it's okay to speak about them.
So I've got a lot of collaborations with musicians going on right now in quarantine. I think this is such an exciting time to like turn a tragic situation into like something it's like a pivotal moment in a lot of creatives' careers, because a lot of people are upskilling now, and like a lot of people, some people have resigned to just waiting until this is over, but for the rest of us it's like, oh shit, how can I prove that this has actually changed my style, or how am I I can come out with something that I wouldn't have made if it hadn't been for quarantine, you know? So everything I'm doing has to be relevant to that. So a lot of the shoots I'm doing are like over FaceTime or whatever. A lot of photographers are doing that right now. I'm just trying to come up with new ways to breathe life into visuals or create moving image for videos, like music videos and stuff like that. So I just released one with Vinch, which I'm super proud of. That was like the first public demonstration of something I'm working on, like this new style. And I've got a wicked project coming up with Connie Constance. That releases in like just over a week. She's going to have her main video in a day or two, and then we've got our video coming out. And I've got some musicians in like some people in New York, all over really. Just like every other day is a different.
And
shoot.
all over FaceTime.
All over FaceTime, yeah. And sometimes it's like I'll send a pitch and a mood board, and I'll direct something over FaceTime. Maybe I say like, I just need you to capture this, this, and this on your iPhone, and that's it. So it's like super minimal, doesn't require loads of effort. We can finish it in an hour or something, and then I'll spend like 4 or 5 days on it and just like blast it out.
Yes, like edit the hell out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like not over editing and relying on technology, but more using your hands to sort of take something that might be seen as like mediocre quality and turn it into something completely new that you wouldn't know was shot through first time. I guess that's the
Yes.
intention.
Yeah. And then on talking about projects and stuff, obviously you've asked a few people, including me and William, and then some other people, just for the people that know, to be a part of a book project that you've been working on. I'm not sure if you want to speak on what it's about or how much you want to share about it.
Sure.
But
So,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think I was doing so much stuff at the agency I was at before quarantine. Every day was like, I don't know, 10 hours plus just on videos, on screens. And I wanted to get back to making things by hand, and realizing I had so much material I hadn't collated, I hadn't gone through all this stuff. You know, every day we document things on our phones, or we screenshot other people's work, or we take behind the scenes photos or videos of shoots that we're on. And I just hadn't done anything with it. I had like 10,000 images that were just in my iCloud. And I thought, like, none of us ever look at these things, but now it's quarantine. Everyone's going back and looking through their old stuff and being like, oh man, I missed that time in wherever, like last summer, you know, what we were doing last year. So I started putting together a book, going through my memories of experiences I've had, jobs I've worked on, shoots I've had, blah, blah, blah. And just sort of like creating collages with text and little witty comments and just super low key. And then I thought, why am I limiting this to just myself? Everyone else is going through the same thing. Let's ask other creatives to go through their archive. And it, like, I just created a really open brief and said to loads of people, like, you can send me a poem, you can send me photos, screenshots, whatever you like, and you just get a double page spread in this A5 book.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's how it started, and now the ball's got rolling. I've got like 30 contributors so far or something.
Mad.
And yeah, hopefully do a little print run at the end of quarantine, and then just sell it and profits go to charity.
Yes, yeah. I'm really stoked to see how it comes out and stuff, and see everybody else's work. Obviously, I've only seen a small snippet of it, but to be able to see it complete in the whole, I think will be quite rad, because it's a very unique idea. Not many people are like, let's make a book of the B-sides. It's always like A-sides, like the main shoot stuff, your no outtakes ever. Like, it's always like these pristine images, but to almost be like, there is, and when I was like thinking about it the other day, I was like, it's very much a look into a creative's mind as well. You just you just were loading there. But yeah, I see somebody has a question, which you've answered the first part, but the second part is a different question. Sure. Did you do art at university? If so, what do you wish you did differently, or any advice for somebody who's currently studying?
I don't regret anything that I did, because I probably wouldn't be here if I hadn't. But I wasn't very good at drawing, and I was just struggling at doing art at school, and I knew that I was creative, but for some reason the traditional tasks they give you in school just weren't exercising my full like creativity, and I wasn't able to express myself. And I guess that's always the struggle. It's like, you have the ideas in your head, how do you achieve them in real life? And I couldn't do it with a pencil or a paintbrush. And realizing that I loved photography and building up this collection from my granddad of all these old cameras and learning how to use them, it all just sort of fell into place. But I was already doing architecture at uni at this point when I realized, oh shit, I don't want to do architecture. Like, as much as I love it, I love the subject, and it's informed my work so much, and the contacts I've made all through my course, like people I met at uni, it just wasn't long term for me. I couldn't see myself in a practice. So it was an art degree, but like everyone else in the building was doing fine art, illustration, animation, photography, graphic design, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Fashion. And I spent more time with those people than with the architecture lot, unless we were drinking in SU. It was mostly like just trying to expand my horizons and pick up other skills. And I was screen printing a lot. And yeah, so I don't think you need to study art. You don't even need to study fashion photography. Like, so many people ask me, should I study a fashion photography course? And I know people who've done it who say they don't rate it, and they're doing really well anyway. To traditionally, have I cut out? I don't think
you're back now.
You need to have traditional training for photography. If you've got a knack for it, or drive at least to pick it up and pursue something, then it's just like experimentation, finding your voice. So
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and there's something on that, or not to bring back a topic from earlier, not to repeat it. It's just I forgot to go on the tangent that I wanted to go on with it. But do you maybe want to speak, because obviously we spoke about networking and all, but why you find networking so important to encourage others to do it as well, or to explain to them the benefits of it? Just the backstory that I'll tell everyone. Like, for instance, the way I met Jamie, which all of you probably will never expect the way I met him, I was hiring his RB67 from him to take some shots in London. And then, like, after hiring it, or I literally just DM'd him or messaged him. I was like, oh, dude, like, let's just hang out sometime, go for a drink or something, chat. And then I don't think we ended up doing that until, like, it got to a point where we ended up doing a gallery together. And I was just like, I have this gallery idea. Do you want to be a part of it? And then we went on a crazy journey of, like, or I was in a sense heading up the gallery, but he ended up like helping like more than anybody with it, which was crazy. And then venues falling through and stuff, but through connections that he had, we were able to get a venue like last minute, the day before. So that's just almost a backstory to how I've seen his networking like work for the positive in my life and his life. I'm not sure if you want to speak more on networking, why it's important.
Well, like I didn't live in London before uni, and then post uni I had
cut out again. Sorry, he's cut out again. I'm just gonna see if he. Yeah, sweet.
Yeah, so basically, like, I wasn't in London, and people who live in London, sometimes like there is an advantage to having grown up in London and like building your network of friends who all end up being creative and like expanding that way. And I didn't have that, and so whilst I was at uni, I was trying to make links in London, but it was just so hard. So then, when I did move back into London, like I had a really shitty retail job, and I just knew the only way out of this job is to just network the shit out of London and just like pick up as many useful contacts as possible. Like anyone who's doing anything relevant to what you want to do, just reach out to them, and not in a spammy way, but like if you've got something to offer, then they're like stupid not to listen. So I would stalk editors from magazines, or like, you know, going on LinkedIn and just like hunting down people for emails, and maybe they'd forgotten that they'd left their email public on their account, but like I found a mutual and another link here, and like just digging for contacts to find like a way that other people wouldn't have contacted them. Because if you DM someone, the chances are they won't see it. But, you know, I'd go to events or get myself into events, or like try and pretend I'm on a guest list and sneak in, whatever it took, and just talk to everyone. Like I guess I got a bit addicted to just talking to anybody I could, and yeah, that led to like one or two really good collaborations, and then I realized that this formula works. You just have to plug away at it for a long time, and then I made a few good connections through the dots. Shout out to the dots. I knew in my head, I kind of knew that they had these like workshops where you can do speed. It's like a speed networking opportunity. So they host them, and there's like 20 senior creatives, and you can apply. They have hundreds of applications for it, and they only give like 20 to 30 spots or something. And I just sort of like plugged that and tried really hard to get a spot. And I managed to get a spot through Pip, who founded the Dots. And then I met someone from Adidas, and that, shout out to Chris, that just sort of led to so many collaborations with Adidas and so many projects with them. Like one project, the first one I did for them, it was the first time I'd worked for like a blue chip client, like the biggest project I ever had. And we just sort of made it up as we went along. But the results of that led to like 5 more jobs through them. And I wouldn't have done that.
Was that the Night Jogger project?
Yeah, the Night Jogger one. That was the first one. And it was just me and my mates, like shout out to Gabriel and King, Luca and Sarah as well. Like everything we did on that was just like so scrappy. and we had to pay for everything up front because like these brands, they don't release budget before you've finished the project. They just expect you to fund it and then provide them with material. So it costs like £1,000, and I
That's
didn't
pounds for the South African people.
Yeah,
£1,000.
Yeah, one bag, and I didn't have enough money to pay my rent, and so I was getting loans. I was like going to money sharks, like don't do that. It's like that's a hole that you end up going down. It's not a good route. But yeah, I took all these loans out and I bought like the equipment I needed, and I paid for like the models, travel, just anything I could do to like make it work. And then it worked really well, but they take like 100 days to pay. So even after that, you then have to recoup your losses and try and like pay your next few months rent before you get enough to pay for your next Adidas job or whatever it is. So it's an expensive business to be in, but it pays well when it works. Like when you get the ball rolling, you can pay for your next project through the last project you had. But for people starting out, that's the hardest part, getting.
Yes. And on that, you were saying you've got your friends involved. One of the things I also admire about your work and the way you work a lot is that you support your friends, and you book your friends or book them for jobs as well. Like for instance, the Night Jogger project used King, used Gabe, used like various people. Like and instead of like getting experienced people where you easily can, you just flash that you're doing or correct me if I'm wrong, you just flash that you're doing something for Adidas, you could probably get loads of people interested in the job, but you decide to book your friends instead. Like, how has that worked, or what got you to the point where you started doing that, or has it just always been a strong conviction of yours?
I mean, this career is a blessing when you get to work with your best friends. Like, there's nothing more incredible than getting paid to work with your mates. So
yeah,
any opportunity to do that, and I'll take it. So as soon as I got the project, it was kind of an open pitch. Like I could do what I wanted. I had a set budget, and I just thought, right, I need an amazing rapper. Who am I going to have? Obviously King. I've known him since like first year of uni. We actually kind of met through a mutual friend, but through SoundCloud.
Yeah.
I'm all about these weird ways of linking with people.
Yeah, I've noticed.
So yeah, I met King, and we'd shot like his EP cover for his first EP or something. We'd shot like a bunch of times just as mates. And then this was the first time I was like, oh shit, I've got a platform here. Like Adidas London are going to post this on their account. The press is going to be big on it. Like there's big budget. I've never had an opportunity like this before. I'm going to plug all my friends. So
yeah,
Gabe and I work together on everything. He's my brother. Everyone knows that because I cannot stop talking about him. So it was like obvious to have him doing all the lighting and helping on the creative. And I love you too, Bar. I miss you.
Yes, Gabe.
There's Gabe.
Can't really see him, but
yeah, I took that ages back on. So we got invited to do a shoot for Taeshi, just like a BTS video on her music video, and we didn't get paid. It cost us to do it. It was one of those things where it's like you just need to juggle or weigh up whether something's worth it if you're not getting paid and it even costs you, but you love the artist, you want to work with them. And I think I've always struggled with that because I just want to make art with people I like. But yeah, that was one of those early days shoots with the boys where we realized that we need to do this every day together and get paid for it.
Yes, yeah. So that's Jamie on working with friends. But something I've tried to touch on earlier, but maybe sorry, I was reading what Jamie said there. I see we have a question. Let's answer that first, and then I'll speak about the thing I wanted to speak about. Josh Preston asked, "What do you think makes a creative piece of work well received and successful in the industry? Do you ever see a similarity in the pieces that you've done being successful?"
He could have just shouted that. He's literally in the room next door. What do I think makes good piece of work?
I'll put one of your work pieces up while you answer.
That is a good question, Josh. I don't think I've ever worried about whether it's, I mean, we all want our work to be well received and we want people to appreciate what we do. But first and foremost, it's always like, does what I make excite me? And like,
Yeah.
Does this keep me up at night because I want to achieve this idea? And often it did. I was like so many sleepless nights making all this stuff. I'm sure everyone appreciates that when you've got an idea that you just fucking love, and you're getting paid for it. It's like you're unstoppable. So I don't think I worried about it being well received. It was more like I'm carving my own path in the industry, so take it or leave it. Like people will either love or hate it, but
yeah,
I like it, and I think that's the most important thing at the end of the day. If you like your own work, and what else did Josh say?
I don't think he said anything more.
Oh, similarity in the pieces that you've done that have been successful. I can never tell what's going to be successful. I literally have no idea what's going to pop off and what people don't care about. Sometimes my favorite stuff, no one cares, and then something made in like, can you hear me? And something else like I made like in a half an hour or an hour, that ends up being my most popular piece. So my stuff's really like my Instagram feed. I always wanted it to be quite like clean and consistent, and it's literally just, I don't think about it now. It's just like I make something, put it out, and now it just looks like Instagram on acid, and I feel like that's just happened organically. But that's the similarities that my stuff, I want it to pop and like be vivid.
Yeah, it has the jaw look, which is not established. He has another piece. Like you can see consistency in his work, which is quite right. I see there's another question, because I don't want to miss questions. That's why I'm rather gonna give you people's questions instead of mine first. But when did you graduate? Just wondering how long it took for you to get where you are now from graduating.
I graduated like 3 years ago, I think. I can't even remember. 2017. Thank you, Josh. And how long it took? I mean, it's taken since I started in like second year of uni. I really started trying to do fashion photography, and I remember at first people. I had some friends who had friends in the fashion department, and I would always say like, please ask them if they need a photographer, because I want to do some lookbooks, and I haven't done anything like that, and it never worked. No one ever wanted to shoot. I didn't have anything to show them, and like no one ever asked me to shoot, and I was offering to do it for free. And like, people wouldn't let me shoot for them for free. So I just kept pushing, and then Emma, Bree and I worked together, and that was like the moment where things just aligned, and I loved that project. And then ever since then, it's just plugging, like chasing clients, plugging my work. So I don't really know where I am now, but it's taken like 5 years. But I don't know what it is that I'm at. Like, I don't think you can ever really scale where you are.
You've never arrived, I don't feel like, because then you stop growing. Like there's always the next thing you should be striving for. Like obviously be content with where you are. Like don't always feel like, oh, I'm an awful creative and stuff like that, but always like strive for more still.
Yeah, definitely.
And then speaking about your similarities in your work, I just want to confirm, because I wasn't sure if there was like a point that you got to, but would you say it just came organically, or there was something that you strive for with jaw? Like because I noticed there's a lot of use of reds in a lot of your stuff.
Yeah, well, the red is like a signature red, and it's like, my friends know this, there's like a weird story behind the red. So my grandma and I are very close. My granddad and I were super close, and he passed away a few years ago, and he's the one who got me, like it's thanks to him that I do photography. And so their phone number ends in 3639, and for some reason when I was looking for the perfect red, the hexa color code was like #DE3639.
That's crazy.
And I was like, that makes sense, and I'll remember that one because I know my grandma's phone number. And now it's just stuck, and I apply it to everything, so it's always that same red. So anyone who heard that, you've got the secret sauce
to draw. Yes, now I can do it. I've been trying to do it forever. Thanks, Jay. I'm joking.
There you
go. And then I want to ask a very cliche question, which I would never usually ask, but I think I wanted to put it there just because it's you, and you do like literally everything under the sun. and well, what's in your bag or who's in your crew for like if you had to shoot like in 20 minutes, like what would be in your bag and who would be in your crew?
So Gabriel, number one, he's in my bag. And kit wise, like, I don't know. I think recently I've been rethinking the whole thing. You don't really need loads of kit. Like, I must have like 40 cameras or something. I really don't know how many cameras I have. I know it's a weird flex, but the cameras I use the most are like, well, now it's my phone or an old VHS camera. So I have my bag. I mean, I have like a wedge off Pelly case now, and I just I cram everything in there. So probably all the film cameras I can take on a shoot. So, and usually I shoot like 8 cameras or something on a shoot, because I just want like so many formats to juggle with and like collage or scan. So I always have a Polaroid. I always have a Polaroid camera, Polaroid 600. I always have a little 35mm like my Nikon FM, SLR. I always have a little point and shoot. I have my Mamiya. I don't have the RB now, but I have a 645. And I have a video camera, GH5, just for like banging out high-res video stuff for clients. And then I have a really old Canon 5D Mark II, which is like really outdated, but it does the job. And to be honest, I care more about the process than like spending 5K on a camera. Like, you don't need to spend that money.
Yes.
And Gabriel has a Nikon D800. Just shout out to Gabriel for the Nikon, which he always brings to every shoot that we do. And then like other people on the team, like Cam is amazing. We work together a lot. Cameron May, he does all my sound design which is mad. Yeah, he's wicked. Literally just bangs out a track in like an hour, and then we just invoice it to the client as if you work for 3 days. But he's actually a wizard, so
work smart, not hard.
Exactly. I hope there's no one in here who's ever paid me for a job. And then there's probably like loads of people. I mean, I rely on people to assist and stuff. So like shout out to Karen, who's helped me a lot, and Luca, Gabe's brother, is amazing. Yeah, just my mates as well.
A lot of your work, you hire lighting people, like lighting stuff though. Like I've noticed you always have like a lighting person. I haven't noticed that really with a lot of photographers. Like usually they just do lighting themselves.
Yeah, but then there's a difference between like continuous studio lighting and light painting, which is what Gabe and I always talk about.
Yes.
And so the lights we use are not expensive. We're not spending thousands of pounds on strobe lights and stuff like that. We do use things in the studios that we book or whatever, but most of the time it's like Gabe armed with some LEDs and some weird torches and all sorts of devices. I've got them like all around my desk, like a bunch of torches for just blinding people. You know, you just put a gel on them and blind the model. We just but Gabe's sick at that. He's really good.
Yeah, he is. He's like the king of lighting.
Yeah, because you can't think about these things when you're shooting because you're so wrapped up in the communication with the model or the artist and the idea you've got for the shoot, or maybe something falls through and it's stressful. And to have someone who can handle lighting and you just take a minute, have a chat and go, I've had a sick idea. What do you think about lighting? And then the way we work, Gabe and I have like our own language on set. So we can kind of talk in lighting terms without anyone knowing what we're on about.
Yeah.
And we're using some kind of like super cheap setup that Gabe's just like magically made at home the night before, not slept to like produce something.
Yes. Yeah, I see Benji Reeves asked, who are your biggest inspirations?
Shout out Benji. That's a good question. I mean, I have like favorite photographers and stuff, but really I don't look at their work to inspire my work because the last thing you want to do is start repeating someone else's style. So really my biggest inspirations are just my best friends and like everyone I talk to all the time, like have deep conversations with about work. Yeah, I don't really have like icons or figures that I look to. I guess it's more constantly being exposed to new work and different formats, like not photography. If you look at photography all the time, I think it starts to dilute your work and infiltrate like your style. So I look at, I mean, architecture was my background, so a lot of the stuff that I've absorbed previously is all informed by my course research. And now it's more like Gabe and I often compare classic pieces of art and then try to come up with a concept based on the art. It might look nothing like the original piece, but it's always inspired.
Yeah, that's gold. Wow.
Yeah, but I think that's something we learned in architecture. Is like you can't design without a precedent. You need something that inspires. You can't
Yes.
just go on SketchUp and model something, which is
Yes.
what a lot of people did in our year. Well, there's a couple who won't name
I,
any
I,
names.
I, yeah, I love how you say like that, that if you use or if you use photos as your inspiration, which obviously isn't wrong, but you find it secretly creeps into your work and then it's not yours, it's somebody else's.
Yeah.
But Willie has a question. He asked, you shoot on film cameras, but don't really play into the cliches of the medium. Your cross shadows and bright reds as an example. What benefit do you feel film has?
That's a good question. I mean, because I use cameras to achieve different results. Like I've never been it's film only or I'm a digital, like I've never wanted to just be defined by a format. So I'll use whatever it takes to get the result that I'm after. But I find that film in particular gives an intimacy with a person when you're shooting portraits. So for portraiture work, I love that because there's like a moment, like a breathing space where you just take time over a shot and you can just talk with the person. They're not freaking out over some monstrous lens and clicking away. It's just like the intimacy of shooting with an old Japanese camera, you know, solid metal in your hand and just sort of like taking time to pull focus. And
yeah, that breaks your wrist. And
yeah, exactly. I don't know why I ever shot with an RB67 out in the field.
Yeah, and I remember walking around London for 2 days with it. I had a bruise over here after 2 days.
With the prism finder on top, it was like 7 kilos. So dumb. And studio photographers hate me for that shit. Whatever.
I see Peter, or username Reese Pokey, asked, what was the journey like from enthusiast to professional? I think you've kind of answered that already. So I'm not sure if you just want to say you can rewatch the live afterwards, or if you want to just give a brief.
I mean, I never really considered being professional. I guess now I'm paid to do it, but it was literally always just like, that's all I'm doing. And I won't do anything but this and just pursue it until it pays off. So yeah, just doing shitty jobs on the side. And then eventually the shitty jobs just fall to the wayside because you've got enough clients that you've built up, and then you've just substituted a few days work that you would have done in a restaurant for a few days on set, and that pays way more. So now you don't have to do the other job you've got working at a wedding serving champagne, which I did a lot. So peak.
Sweet. I see somebody asked, and then before I read this question, I just want to say, if anybody has any questions, just add them. Because after this question, if we don't see any more, I'll ask my last question and then we'll slowly start closing down. But Seb asked, who was your favorite person to shoot ever with that smirk face? So I assume she's wanting you to say her, if you've shot with her or him.
Seb, that's Seb.
Oh, sorry, to him.
We've known each other since we were like 4. That's a hard question. I don't know if I have one because they're all so different, and I guess the style keeps changing. So I'm like, oh no, that's way better than the work I did before. So even if it's someone sick, the work moves on, and I just want to shoot with them again. I don't know that I have a favorite person. Everyone I've worked with is really special. Like so many sick musicians, and like people who maybe I didn't think would be as chill, and they've turned out being like my mates now and stuff like that. Like shooting with Elias for PAQ. When I first started shooting there, it was like really awkward talking to the boys. I couldn't break that bridge, and then it took a number of episodes, and then we just got way more comfortable. And then now it's got to the point where like I've traveled with Elias and shot with him, and he's wicked to work with. But yeah, sometimes you only get an hour with someone, sometimes you get a few days or weeks working with the same people, so it's hard to judge like who's my favorite.
Yeah. And then there's 2 more questions I see. How do you focus your style so precisely but maintain being multidisciplinary and getting a variety of clients? Also, hi Bob, That's not from me. That's from somebody else.
Very true. How do I focus my style so precisely? I don't know, because I just want to make what I want to make. So I get really excited about making something, and it just develops into something else, and then I'll have a conversation with Gabe, and I'll come up with another idea, and then before you know it, it's turned into something completely different, and that's the result, and I'm putting it out, and then I move on to the next. And I guess if you're always doing that and showing your true self and like just representing your vision and not conforming to anybody else's ideas or twisting to someone's demands, or I make my own mood board.
Yeah.
No one's sending me a mood board for the shoot unless it's Gabe. So that way you just keep your own character, your personality in your work. And I guess that the clients that dig that just sort of, they just come somehow. I don't know.
Yeah,
Word
that's
of
quite
mouth.
true. And then a bit of a not off topic, but off creative question. Best packed lunch ideas for a long day in the studio.
Another friend that I made to Fat Llama, shout out to Isaac. Best packed lunch idea. I always forget my packed lunch, I'm really bad at that.
I'm getting Nando's.
I always have the jaw juice because I'm so thirsty. I've literally drunk like 2 bottles of this since we started talking. But I always forget the lunch. I need to get better at that. I need like baby bells or little cheese strings or something cute. Little pitty filou yogurts maybe. Maybe some jelly. Throw back to old skate days. Get some lime jelly. Gabe will know that one. And Monster. Terrible habit.
Nice. And then Gabe asked best ritual activity around work that actually ends up helping it.
Best ritual activity. Probably like some demonic praying and lighting the candles, and I do that on the daily. Little jaw pentagon, and then I light up all my candles and get in my zone. Really, that's what I do at like 4 a.m, every hour on the hour. So that answers it.
Okay. And then Jada asked, "Are you open to more collaborations with freelance creation? Freelance creatives currently during quarantine?" Sorry, that was a tongue twister for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a yes man. Like, I really have a problem with that. I keep saying yes to stuff that I shouldn't be saying yes to, and doing more than I can handle. I think a lot of us have that problem, especially when you're excited to do work and it's not about money. It's just like, oh fuck, they want to do this and they want to do this and they want to do this, and every day it's like handling all these different projects. And yeah, I'm always open to more collabs, but I'm going to try and start saying no because it's becoming a problem. People are going to hate me for delivering stuff super late.
Okay. So then I see Willie has something to say, and then Peter again. I think after that we'll cut it there. I'm sorry, but this is going close to an hour, and I don't want to.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Okay, we can carry on if you want to.
Stay on, guys. Ask more questions.
Okay, yeah. So stay on. You can give all the questions you want. I was make sure Jamie doesn't feel like he has to milk himself. And then Peter says to both of you, what are some creative red flags or common mistakes that you had to learn to avoid? You answer first because I don't know my answer.
Wait, whose question is this? Oh,
Peter.
What are some creative red flags? Doing shit for free when someone would have paid you, not charging enough, and the client laughing at you when they would have paid you 10 times as much. So yeah, knowing your worth. Made so many mistakes with that. That one's really hard. That's another conversation for another day. That's a hard one. Yeah, and I guess just be on it with clients. Like, maintaining good client relationships is so dull, but it's really worth it. That I'm not going to dip into that because it's boring. But yeah, admin.
Yeah.
Admin.
Yeah. For me, it's again, it's a longer story, but I think I'll do in summary. But it's not like being on a shoot or taking a photo and not focusing on the image, but more focusing on like, okay, how are people gonna like this, or like is it gonna be received well? But instead of just focusing, do I like it? Let's make a good image, when that will come naturally, but rather focusing on the after, and not focusing on the now of like what you're actually taking. Not sure if that answers it, but that's what I find, which is something I still have to try avoid.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I also want to read, I'm not sure if this is a question or not, but William says, I feel like it might be worth mentioning for the sake of any South Africans tuning in from Bradley's side that the idea of free work for cool jobs is kind of location dependent. There needs to be an industry to support it.
Yeah.
That's quite valid.
Very true. Yeah, I mean, it's also like you shoot someone else, like you shoot yourself in the foot by not getting paid, and you take an opportunity that someone else could have got paid for. So you're not helping other freelancers by doing shit for free. And that was one of the first things I struggled with, because I don't support that curve of like young freelancers doing stuff for free and the industry taking advantage of amazing people doing stuff for nothing. And so that was like my stance, like, don't do stuff for free then. Just say, sorry, if you haven't got money, I can't do it. But then it's like, when you really don't have a big portfolio, you just get sucked in and people literally won't pay. And it's like, well, I'm sorry, we'll go to someone else. We've got a sick artist, someone will do it for free. It's so hard not to just...
It is tough. Yeah. It's very, very tough. Like, I struggle with it. I'm like, I'll never shoot if I just take paid jobs. Yeah. Like, obviously it's bad. But South Africa is a lot worse than... But I'm not going to negative or neg the industry. On record. But somebody asks, favorite Haribo shape in a pack. And
favorite Haribo shape in a pack?
I don't know what...
Dinosaurs. The tank.
And then Josh asked, what media do you want to branch into that you've never experimented with yet?
What media do I want to branch into? You'd think I would know the answer to this question because he's sitting over there and he's probably asked me everything under the sun. I mean, I really like working with materials hands-on. Like, fashion design is something I've always been fascinated in. And I studied pattern cutting at LCF during the summer of my last year at uni, or second year of uni, whatever. And I love the idea of making garments to wear, because as a photographer, you work with people and the human body is a huge aspect of the work. And then as an architect or an architecture student, you work with flat lays, designing CAD packages and designing places that people inhabit. And clothing is like some kind of combination of the two, where it's almost more immediate. As an architecture student, when are you going to build your first structure you're building? It takes a long time. But with clothing, it was like, wow, I could conceive an idea in my head, make it through working with fabrics, and then apply it to a model or whatever. And that excited me. And then it led to opportunities, because I started designing pieces of clothing and I would wear them to the events that I shot at. And then there was one occasion where I went backstage at a party after a show, and I'd shot the show and I was wearing a pair of my trousers I'd made that was super rough. Like, I look at them now, they need so much work, but like, it was a prototype of something I wanted to show. And then a musician asked to like buy a pair because I wore them. And I was like, oh shit, this is such a unique angle. If you're a photographer and you design the stuff you wear and someone picks up on that, who knows what sort of opportunities that could open, because you have that one-on-one artists. Like, people who design clothes and would love to have their clothes worn by artists. The photographer is the guy who works directly with them if he's repping the clothes. So shout out to all the fashion labels who need to dress the photographers. I'm not an influencer, but I should be getting some free shit ready. So drop me a DM.
Jamie the influencer, busy advertising skincare products soon.
Yeah, my skin's looking better this time. I was looking pasty this
morning. Okay, so it seems like there's no more questions. I think I'll leave it for like a minute and see if there's any more. Otherwise, to everyone, this is the end, and goodbye. And thank you to Jamie.
Who signed in. This is mad.
Yeah, there were a lot more people. Same as Monday, there were a lot more people than I thought were interested. I suppose quarantine means everybody.
What are you trying to say, Bradley? Are you saying people aren't interested?
No, I was saying that I'm not interested. But somebody said dress photographers, dress stylists, they're going to get you in the editorials. It translates.
Wait. Scrolling. Dress photographers, dress stylists. Yes. Absolutely, Rasheen.
Very good. But yeah, I think we'll say goodbye then. Goodbye to everyone who tuned in and is still in. But it was really rad chatting with you all. And thank you once again to Jamie for being Willie.
Being Willie.
For being willing.
Shout out to Willie.
And as William says, we are cool cats, Jamie. You and William are cool cats. Cheers.
Bye, guys.